Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Tato, back again with recipes that make you wanna cook. On today's video, we are making something sweet. Stay tuned. Let's get started, guys, and as usual I will leave all the ingredients in the description box down below. Now we're gonna get started with preparing our baking pan with some non-stick spray, and we're gonna set it aside. Then in my bowl I'm gonna sieve 4 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, we're gonna set that aside, and then in my other bowl I have 200 grams of butter or margarine, and I'm gonna cream that together with 1 cup of sugar. I just want to soften up the butter first because I didn't let it sit outside the refrigerator for a long time, so it was a little bit hot. So this is just me softening it up. Alright, once the butter and sugar is combined, I'm gonna add 3 eggs, one at a time. Right now I'm also gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence. I'm also gonna add about 2 tablespoons of lemon zest. You can add as much as little as you want according to your flavor profile that you're going for. I didn't want it to be overly on the lemony side, but just to have that pop of flavor. And we're also gonna need 1 cup of Amasi or buttermilk. Now if you do want that pop of lemon flavor, or you want it to be the main flavor in your cake, you can also add the juice of the lemon. So I just wanted that hint of the lemon flavor. Now what you're gonna do is add half of the buttermilk or the Amasi and half of the flour mixture. Then you just want to fold the flour and the buttermilk into the wet ingredients, and then same thing again. You're gonna add the rest of the buttermilk or Amasi and the rest of the flour mixture and fold them in. Now please do not overmix. Just mix until everything is combined and there's no residue of flour. Okay, now we're going to my favorite part of the recipe. We're gonna add blueberries. So I added 125 grams of blueberries. Now I'm just gonna coat them with some flour. This will prevent the blueberries from bleeding when you mix them in, and it will also absorb the liquid of the fruit so that it doesn't sink at the bottom of the cake, especially in more liquid batters. Now this you don't have to worry that much, but prevention is better than cure. I would have loved to add more blueberries, but unfortunately when I went to the shops there were only 3 tubs of blueberries left, guys. I don't know, but yeah, I only found 3 tubs of blueberries, and I also wanted to make a blueberry sauce, so I had to sacrifice to add 1 tub of blueberries into my batter, and then the 2 tubs I'm gonna use them for the sauce. I wish I could have done this vice versa because I truly did not need that much sauce, but yeah, you can do it however you like, but preferably I would like to add 250 grams of blueberries. Now we're gonna transfer our batter into our baking tin, smooth it out, then we're gonna put it in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius for about 45 minutes to an hour, or until it's golden brown and a skewer or a fork or a knife comes out clean or dry. Then it's ready. I'm gonna place it out of the oven and put it on a wire rack, or just, but another tip is that let it cool while in the pan. If you're gonna take out your cake out of the pan while it's hot, it's gonna crack and it's gonna crumble and it's gonna break. So yes, I learned that the hard way, but now we know. So once you take out your cake out of the oven, let it completely cool, at least for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let it sit in the pan, and then take it out of the pan, put it on a cooling rack, and let it cool completely before we do anything else. In the meantime, we're gonna get started with our buttercream, and for this we're gonna make a Swiss Meringue Buttercream, and you wanna add 1 cup of sugar, granulated sugar in your bowl, and 3 egg whites. So separate your egg whites from your egg yolks. You can check them out, the egg yolks or whatever. Then now you want to make a bain marie on your stove, right? You wanna add a little bit of water in your pot, just enough for the water to not dry out. And once it starts boiling, that's when you put your heat resistant bowl over it. Just make sure that when the bowl is on the on top of the pot, though it doesn't touch the water, right? And you basically just want to make a meringue. You want to let the sugar dissolve, so just keep stirring and stirring. And the way that you're gonna test if the sugar is really dissolved, you're gonna feel with your fingers. So if you feel the mixture and you can feel the sugar granules, it's not ready. Until you cannot feel the sugar granules at all, then you know it's ready. Now be careful, it is a hot mixture, so you don't want to burn yourself. So that takes about 15 to 20 minutes. After that, you want to immediately whip your mixture, right, on high. I'm using a handheld whisk, so that could be very tiring. You need to whisk it. Like, I thought that my camera was shooting before, but it didn't. But at least I saw it before I was done with everything. So you really want to whip your mixture until it's completely cool, very cool. If you're using a stand mixer, it's gonna make your life way easier. Now if you're using a handheld whisk, it's very difficult because your hand gets tired and it takes a long process. So yeah, now I'm also gonna add 175 grams of butter or margarine. In this instance, I used white margarine from Wooden Spoon. Now you just want to add a little bit of a thyme. It's recommended that you just cut them up into little cubes. Now if you're using a handheld mixture, I know this is not allowed, but this is my 5th time making this buttercream, and by now I know what to do if something goes wrong. So we're gonna deliberately do something wrong so that we save time, right? So you just want to whip your mixture until it's cool enough, right? So what I did, it was not cool, like cool, because it needs to be cool. My bowl at the bottom was still a little bit warm, but not alarming. So what's gonna happen is that if the bowl is still warm, when you add the butter or margarine, it's gonna melt. Instead of create that volume of that creamy buttercream, the butter will melt. So, but if you're using a hand mixer, you're allowed to do this. I'm giving you that permission, okay? Now we're gonna use a proofing method of this. If you couldn't whisk until it was completely cool, don't worry. Now we're also gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, you know, when you're firstly trying out a recipe, you want to do it the right way, yeah. So I did the right way first time. It didn't give me any problems. But using a handheld mixer can be very tiring. With a stand mixer, it can take you approximately about 10 to 15 minutes for that mixture to be completely cool. With a hand, oh Lord, I think I stood there for about 25 minutes and already my hand was. So as you can see, the buttercream is not formed, it's not firm, it's not creamy, it's relatively runny. Right now, don't panic. It's okay. We're just gonna put it in the center with our spatula, just real nice, and put it in the fridge covered for about 30 minutes. While that's in the fridge, we're gonna make our berry sauce. That's my favorite. This is about 250 grams of blueberries. Then I added 4 tablespoons of vodka, yes, and 4 or 5 tablespoons of any flavored water that you want. You can also use water and sugar, plain water and sugar, but for this instance the sugar comes from the flavored water, so I didn't add any sugar. Now you want to simmer that at very low heat, at about a 4 medium high heat, and simmer it. So I didn't let the blueberries really completely disappear. I wanted those chunks, so that's also according to preference. If you don't want those chunks, you can also strain your mixture, right? So this is how it looks. I didn't let the blueberries disappear. I wanted that texture as well. If you don't want to add vodka, you can use water and sugar, a little bit of lemon juice. Right now, this is our buttercream out of the fridge. As you can see, the texture is a lot more better than when we put it in the fridge. The butter or the margarine has become solid again, and it's nice, right? It's buttercream. As you can see, the consistency has changed. So that is the proofing method if you happen to add your butter or your margarine too early. Now I just dipped my spatula in the blueberry sauce. I thought that I wanted to make kind of a marble color, but I don't know, man. I just not ended up not liking it, and I just mixed it until it was a little white color again. So yeah, now we're just gonna assemble everything. We're gonna cut our cake. What you want to do is take a serrated knife or a bread knife and find the equilibrium of the cake, basically in the middle. Then you just want to place your your bread knife there. It helps if you have a turntable like me, and you just spin. You don't cut through, or you don't have to use your strength to cut through the cake. Just let the cake, you're spinning the cake go through the knife. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah. And all you have to do is just walk the knife through the cake. Don't use any pressure. It will just happen manually, and boom, like that. Beautiful. And that's how it looks. Now, of course, you can use more blueberries, like I said. As you can see here, we ran a little bit short, but it still looks pretty as hell, and it's very, very moist. Now I divided my buttercream into two. It's not a lot of buttercream, so this can be enough for one cake. If you're making a smaller cake, it can even crumb coat and cover. So yeah, I'm just gonna spray it around. As you can see, I'm sharpening my smearing skills. Oh my god. So don't be alarmed, because this is not a professional cake. You don't have to crumb coat it unless you want to go that route. But honestly, baking is a lot of work, and I was tired. I was like, as long as the buttercream is on there, I'm done. Okay? So if you want to go the extra mile, you can crumb coat it, put some first layer of the buttercream, put it in the fridge so that the crumbs are held in the buttercream and they're not visible. If you want to decorate it, if you want to add more buttercream, and make it like a full professional cake, you can do that. So you just want to flatten it out fairly thinly, and then we're gonna add our blueberry sauce. Now I must let you know that this is really a drippy mess, but it is a mess that is very lovely. When there's juices sink into the sides of the sponge, oh baby. The other thing that you can do, I think, you can make your cake with no sugar and make the syrup. Instead of putting sugar in your cake, you make the syrup using blueberries. You strain the blueberries so that they have no chunks, and while your cake is hot, you pour that blueberry syrup on your cake so that it can soak it up, right? So I think that's one way to add more flavor into your cake, moist, more of the blueberry flavor as well. So yeah, that's another way of doing it. Another way is that if you don't want to make the blueberry sauce, you can just use the raw blueberries as they are. Just put them in between layers and you're good to go. Now I'm gonna add the second layer of the cake. I just put it upside down. Basically, the dome on top went in the middle. That helps when you want a flat surface on your cake, right? You can decorate it much nicer, much easier. And if you're doing a fully coated cake, that space between the dome and the middle of the cake is just gonna be covered by the buttercream. So we're gonna put in our last layer of the buttercream. Now I love this buttercream because it's less sweeter than American buttercream. So I love Swiss Meringue because it's not really sweet. It doesn't need a lot of icing sugar. So I opt for it always. And also it's very smooth, it's very silky. So yeah. Okay, my camera kind of cut there, but I wanted to show you the spiral, how I did those cute spirals. If you're also not adding anything on top of the cake, that could be a simple cute deco that you do to your cake. Otherwise, you can add any decorations that you want. For this, we're just gonna smear a little bit of a mess on top of the cake with our blueberry sauce. That's very beautiful and delicious. And we're basically done, guys. We're basically done. Now, I did put the cake in the fridge for a little bit before I cut into it. But with this kind of buttercream, you want to eat it at room temperature, because then the buttercream is a lot more smoother, because when it gets into the fridge, it becomes, what can I say? A little bit, I don't know, like that sticky sweet, Yes, I don't know what to say, but yeah, you kind of get it. But so if you want to cut it, just put it out the fridge, or just cut it right away. And yeah, I hope you enjoy, guys, as much as I enjoyed making this cake. I don't like baking, but when I do, I love it so much that I want to do it again until I get irritated of doing again and again and again. So we're just gonna cut into it. Now, if you made it through this video until the end, you deserve a slice. So make yourself a cake. While you're at that, please do subscribe if you haven't already, and join the family. Hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and that's twice a week. Always something to try it on the channel, guys. Welcome to the family if you're new. Thank you to my OGs from day one. You're the realest. So I hope you try the recipe. I hope you like it. Please leave a comment down below as well. Show me some love and I'll show you some love. And that's the end of the video, guys. I love you so much. Stay blessed, and I will see you on the next one.